everyone, welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I'm going to continue with your same module, that is the quality systems in the IT. And in the last class we have discussed about the quality parameters, or what is the quality management and how to do the quality management, or what are the various tools that is used to make the quality improvement or the quality management. So let's start with the previous class session what we have covered in the last class. Today's topic, that is the quality management. So in the last class, we have studied about the quality management. That is, what is the quality management? That means whenever we are managing the quality, that means how to manage the quality, what are the various rules, regulation that is used to manage the quality and elimination of the failure, that is known as the quality management. And there are 5 questions that is explained in the quality management. That is, what are you trying to do? What do you make it happen? What do you know it's right? Or how do you know it's right? How do you know it is a better way to doing it? And how do you know it is the right thing to do? These are the 5 questions of the quality management. So these are the 5 questions that we have discussed about the quality management. That is how we can improve the quality, or how the quality will be improved by using this one, or what are the various questions that is used for the quality management. The first question is, what are you trying to do? That means what do you want, or what are you trying to do? What's your target? Then how do you make it happen? Then how do you know, how do you make it happen? That how what are the very possible solution to make it happen? Then how do you know it's the right, so how do you know it's the right position or not? And how you know it is the best way to doing it, or is the best way of doing it? So these are the various questions. And how do you know it is the right, whether this is the right option, or this is the right choice, right thing to do or not? So these are the various questions. These are the 5 questions that is discussed about the quality management. And the failure elimination is also characteristic. 5 questions. So these are the 5 questions about the failure elimination school that is also available. How do you know what is needed? That means how do you know what is needed for the quality? What could affect your ability to do it right? That is, what is your ability to do it right? Then what checks are made to verify the achievement? So what are the various checks that are used or that are made to verify the achievement of the target? Then how do you ensure the integrity of these checks? That is, how do you ensure whether these checks are valid or not, or whether these checks are good or not? That is means how to ensure the integrity of these checks. Then what action is taken to prevent the recurrence of the failure? That is, what are the various actions that is taken to prevent the recurrence of the failure? That means, again, if for example again the failure occur, then what are the various possible solution? What are the various actions that is taken to prevent again we can say the recurrence of the failure that is available in this one. So these are the 5 questions about the quality management. And this is the theory. These are the paragraph that shows about the, or that tells about the ISO 9001, that contains a statement that the aim of the requirement is to achieve customer satisfaction by means of the, or by prevention of the non-conformities. So that is achieved, or customer satisfaction will be achieved by various prevention of the prevention of the non-conformities that is used with the 9001 indication, and that is conformity to the user and applicable regulatory requirement. And in these are the 5 questions. These are the questions that is discussing this one. Now next topic is the quality management principle. That is, what are the various principles that is required for the quality management? That means, what are the various rules, regulation that is required for the quality management? So as explained at the beginning of this chapter, we need the principle. We need, so as we discussed in the last class, also in the last class, that is, what are the there are some principles that is required for the quality management. So as explained at the beginning of this chapter, we need the principles to help us determine the right things to do and understand why we do what we do. That means, what are the various targets, or why we do the things, and what are the ways by which we can understand why we do and what we do. The more prescription we have, the more we get immersed in the detail and lose the weight of our objective, or lose the sight of our objective, our purpose, our reason for doing what we do. That means, what is the main purpose? What is the main reason for doing what we do? That is the main principle of the quality management. Once we have lost sight of our purpose, our actions and decisions follow the mood of the moment. So once we have lost the sight of our purpose, that means, but once we have lost the sight of our purpose, action and the decision, then follow the mood of the moment. That means, whatever the moment that is carried out, that follow the mood, or that depends on the mood of the moment. And they are swayed by the political climate, or the fear of the fire. So there are multiple political climate, or the fear of the fire that is available or that is used with the political climate or the fear of the misfires. We can so easily forget our purpose when in heated discussions. So if there are multiple discussion and there is a heated discussion, we can easily or we can so easily forget our purpose. That is what is the main purpose of the discussion. When it not who you are, but what you say and to whom you say it, that is deemed important. That is more important. That is what you are saying and to whom you are saying about this one. Those people who live by the set of the principles often find themselves cast out of the club for saying what they believe. So what they believe, that is carried out by the principle, that is carried out by the themselves of the various beliefs. However, with presence of the mind and recollection of the reason. So whatever the recollection of the reason that is available, why the principles are important for the survival. So why the principles are very important for the survival. So why rules and regulations are available for the survival. They could just redeem themselves and be regarded as an important contributor. That means they just redeem themselves. So what are the various possible solutions to redeem themselves and what are the various targets by which we can achieve the target? They could just redeem themselves and be regarded as an important contributor. Now, what is the meaning of the quality management principle? The quality management principle is defined. So how it is defined? That is defined as a comprehensive and fundamental rule of the belief. That means it is a fundamental rule of the belief for leading or operating an organization. That is how to operate in organization. So this is a belief or the we can say the rule that is available for leading or operating an organization. That what is the main aim of this one? For improving the performance over the long term by focusing on the customer. So by focus on the customer. So if you focus on the customer while addressing the interested parties. So while addressing the needs of the other interested parties, we also focus on the main aim, that is the main principle of this one. That is the main target of this one, that is achieved over the time by focusing on the customers while addressing the needs of the other interested parties. And there are 8 principles that is available that are emerged as a fundamental to the or fundamental to the management of the quality. So these are emerged as a fundamental to the management of the quality. There are 8 principles that is available, and all the requirements of the ISO 9001-2000 are related to one or more of these principles. And these principles provide the reasons for the requirement and therefore very important. These are the principles that is required for the requirements, and these are the very important principles that is available. And each of these is addressed below. Now, the further guidance on the application of these principles is provided in this one. So these are the various principles. These are the eight. We can say the quality management principle that is available. So first is the leadership. Then there is a customer focus. Then there is a continual improvement. Then there is a mutual beneficial supplier relationship. Then involvement of the people. So there is the involvement of the people also carrying out the data. That means there is an involvement of the people also for carrying out the data, for carrying out the supplier services, that is carrying out the data. That means there is a leadership. Then there is a continual improvement. After the leadership, there is a continual improvement. Then next is a mutually beneficial supplier relationship. Then there is a involvement of the people. Then there is a system approach. Then there is a factual approach. So these are the various, we can say, the 8 principles that is available. The first principle is the leadership. That is what are the various leadership styles that is available for the management. Then next is the customer focus. That is the focus on the customer. That is also the one of the quality management principle that is available. Then there is a continual improvement. So there is a continual improvement in the there is a continuous improvement in the data. That is a continual improvement. Then mutually beneficial supplier relationship. So there is a mutually beneficial supplier relationship. That is also one of the principle of the quality management. Then there is a process approach. Then there is a system approach. Then there is a factual approach. So these are the 8 principles. So these are the 8 quality principles. The 8 quality principle that is available, that is used in the as a part of the quality management principles. Now let's discuss one by one. That is what is the customer focus and how we focus on the customer or how it is used. So what is the principle? That is a comprehensive and the fundamental rule of the belief that is used for operating an organization. That means what are the various rules or regulations that is available to operate an organization, to operate an industry. Neither the definition of the quality management principle nor the eight principles themselves contain the word quality. That means there is no word that is explained over here that is a quality in the quality management, but it's a fundamental rule of the belief for leading or operating an organization that aimed at continuous improvement over the long term by focusing on the customer relationship. So when we focus on the customer relationship, there are multiple parts by which we can aim or we can focus on the customers while addressing the needs of the other interested parties. So these are the eight principles. Now let's discuss one by one all this principle. Let's discuss one by one. The first part, that is a customer focus. That is the main focus is on the customer. Now this principle is expressed as follows. That means this principle is defined as follows. Organizations depends on their customers and therefore should understand the current and the future customer needs. Now, organization must depend on their customer because customer is the king of the organization. So whenever we say that the customer, the organization depends on their customers and therefore should understand the current and future customer need. That is, what are the various current needs of the customer and what are the various future needs of the customer. So an organization should or therefore understand that what are the various current and the future customer needs, meet the customer requirement and strive to exceed customer satisfaction. That means meet the requirement of the customer and a customer requirement and strive to exceed the customer expectation. That means if the customer expectation is satisfied or not, that is the main target, that is the main part of to succeed of the customer expectations. So customers are a livelihood of every organization. As I said, the customer is the king of the organization. We should remember that customers are not only purchasers, but any person of the organization that receives a product or service. That is not the end customer that like we are the end customer if I go into the show. No, no, no. That is a person of the organization that receives a product or the service. Not-for-profit organizations therefore have a customer. So therefore, there are not-profit organizations that have a customers because if there is no profit in the organization, so there is no customer over there. Profit is not the only reason or not the reason for an organization existence. So profit is only not only the reason that is available for the organization existence, but non-profit organizations are also available that is used to satisfy or that is used to satisfy the customer. Profit is So profit is needed in order to grow the organization so that it may satisfy more customers. So if the customers are satisfied, there is a main aim of the non-profit organization. Customer focus means organizing work as a process that converts customer need into the satisfied customer. That means if the customer needs are satisfied, or if I'm satisfied the customer, that is known as the satisfied customer. It means that all the processes are customer focus. Now, the principle means that everyone in the organization need to be customer focused. That means this principle simply says that every organization is more focused on the customer needs. That is the inward seeking focus to the outward seeking focus. That is the organization need to be customer focused or the customer oriented. Not simply the top management or the sales personnel, but everyone that is the organization or that is available in the organization that must favor for the customers. Now, but the requirement, a customer may want the ISO 9000 certification, but in reality, it is business improvement that may be needed. While an ISO 9000 certificate may appear to give satisfaction initially, this may be a short-lived as the customer slowly realize that possession of ISO 9000 certificate did not result in the growth of the business that was expected. That means this is a short life of the customer that they believe that ISO is very good. Then the customer focus principle is reflected in the ISO 9000 through the address or through the requirements addressing. What are the various requirements? That is communication with the customer, then care for the customer property, then determination of the customer needs and the expectations, then appointment of a management representative, then management committees. So these are the various requirements that is carried out by the ISO 9000 point that communicate with the customer, that care for the customer property, then determination of the customer needs and the expectations, then appointment of a management representative, then management commitment. So this is the first part, that is the customer focus. Now the next part is the leadership. That means leadership is also one of the principle that is used, the principle is expressed or is defined as follows. That means leaders establish unity of the purpose. So what is the role of the leaders? They establish the unity of the purpose and direction for the organization. They should create and maintain the internal environment in which people can become fully involved in achieving the organization objective. That means leaders establish the unity of the purpose and the direction. That is, what is the main unity of the purpose? What is the main direction for the organization? And they should also create and maintain the internal environment in which they can become fully involved in achieving the organization objective. That is, they fully involved in achieving the organization objective. That is how they achieve or how they fully achieve the organization objective or how they fully achieve the organization data. So leaders establish the unity of the purpose and the direction for the organization. And they should create and maintain the internal movement or internal environment in which the people can become fully involved in achieving the organization objective. Now, what is the meaning of this principle or what is the role of this principle? So leaders exist at all levels in the organization. As we know that leaders exist at all the levels in the organization. They are not simply the ones at the top. That means they are not leaders that is available only at the top. No, it's not the case. Within every need or within every team, there needs to be a leader. That is, within every team that is available, that there should be a or there needs to be a leader within every team. That means there is a volunteer that is available. For example, monitor in the class. That is a leader. One who provides a role model consistent with the values of the organization. It is a behavior of the leaders that influences our lives, not just in the business world, but also in our family and the leisure activity. That is available in the leisure activity, that is available in the leadership activity, that is used in the families and the leisure activity. And people naturally concentrate on what they are making. And they fully focus on what they measure, what their family needs, that is what the requirement of this one. It is therefore the vital that leaders measure the right thing. Without a good leader, an organization will go where the tide task or takes it, and it's a predictable with the tides. That means there is a cast of the shoreline that is available with the leaders. And leaders are responsible for the internal environment also. So this is the second principle that is available, that leaders are also responsible for the internal environment. That is used for the leaders. The leaders are responsible for the internal environment also. Whatever the environment, that may be a good environment, that may be bad environment. That is also one of the aim or one of the, we can say, the task of the leaders. And the leadership principle is the ISO 9000 through the requirements addressing. So that is available or that is reflected in the ISO 9001 through the requirements addressing. That is the leadership principle. Now, what are the various principles? That is the setting of the objectives and the policies. That is, what are the various objectives or how to set the objectives and the policies. That is the setting of the objectives and the policies. Then there is a planning. So plan out what they want to achieve. That is the planning. Then there is an internal communication. So there is the internal communication. That is also one of the part of the leadership principle. That is the internal communication. Then next is the creating an effective work environment. That is how to create an effective work environment in which we can work. That is creating an effective work environment. So these are the four effects, or these are the four categories that we are using, or these are the four principles that we are using. That is the setting of the objective and the policy, then planning, then internal communication, then creating an effective work environment. Now, we can say the leadership style is the involvement of the people. That is, involvement of the people is very one of the important. We can say the principle, that is people are involved. People at all the levels are the essence of the organization. That is, people are involved at the essence of an organization, and their full involvement enables their ability to be used for the organization benefit. So whatever the organization benefit that is used, that is available at all the levels, that is also essence of the organization, and their involvement also use the ability that is used for the organization benefit. That means it is the involvement of the people are also the one of the benefit that is available for the organization. And it is not uncommon for those affected by the diseases to be absent from the discussions with the decision maker. So whatever the decision maker that is available, that discuss with the decision maker, that discuss with the decisions, that stands the test of the time, that are more likely to be made when those affected by them have been involved. So whatever the decision, whatever the test plan that is available, that is used with the test of the time, that are more likely to be made, when they are effective, when they are involved with the involvement of the people, right? Employees cannot employ a part of the person. That means employee cannot be employed a part of the person that can employ at a full time of the part that is available with the part time or the full time. Now, next is the involvement of the people. That is next principle that is available is the involvement of the people. That is how the people involved in this one. So the principle says that people at all the levels are the essence of the organization. That means these are the essence of the organization that is available at all the parts, and the employees cannot employ a part of the person. They take the whole person. That means they are available at the full involvement. That means their full involvement is required. So we cannot employ or we cannot recruit the half person. We can recruit the full person that is full available or at all the times. Every person has a knowledge and experience beyond their job he or she has assigned to perform. So whatever the person we are achieving that is available for their job, for their performances, and some are leaders in the community. So some persons are leaders in the community, and some architects of the social event. So whatever the social event that is available, some are the social events and some are the building the projects and the expeditions that is available in this one. And no one is limited in knowledge and experience to the current job they do. So no one is limited in the knowledge and experience to the current job they are working. For example, if I'm working in I'm a teacher, so my experience is of the teaching goals only, and you are working in a company, for example, for the database, so your experience in the database only. That principle means that management should tap this source of knowledge, encourage the personnel to make a contribution and realize their personal experience. It also means that management should be open, not hide in the discussion unless national or the business security could be threatened. So unless and until the various security can be threatened, that discussion could not be ending. That should be open for each and everyone. And closed door management leads to the disturb among the workforce. And there is a people that is involved that is reflected in the ISO 9001 through the requirement or through the requirement addressing. Now, what are the various requirements that is available in the ISO 9001? The first requirement is the participation in the design review. So there is a participation in the design review. So for example, if I'm developing the EI diagram, so there is a participation of the people in the design reviews also. Then defining the objectives, responsibilities, and the authorities. That means what are the various objectives, what are the various responsibilities, and what are the various authorities that the people have. Then creating an environment in which people are motivated. That means create an environment in which people are motivated among themselves. That means create a good environment, or we can say the healthy environment. Then there is the internal communication, that is the next part. Then there is the identify the competence needs, that is what are the various competence needs that is required. So that is identifying the competence. These are the 5 principles that is available that is used in the ISO 9001 standard that is available through the requirement addressing. Now, next we can say the function, or next we can say the principle that is available is the process approach. The approach must be systematic. The approach must be valid. That means the process approach. So, as desired, or desired result is achieved by or more efficiently when related resources and activities are managed as a process. So, when the related resources and the activities are managed as a process, that means this is the process approach. So this principle is expressed as follows. That means a desired result is achieved. So if I want to get the good result, that is achieved more efficiently when the related resources and the activities are managed as a process. When there is a well activities or when there is a related resources and the activities are managed as a process, that is known as the process approach. And all the work is a process because it takes the input and convert these into the output. So every work is a process. Why? Because if I'm taking out the anything, if I want to build a chair, that means we have to come with the furniture, we have to screw tight the furniture. So that means we are giving the input and there is the output that is generated after the processing. So that is a process approach. That is the desired result is achieved more efficiently when the related sources and activities are managed as a process. And the all work is a process because it takes input and convert into the output. In the organizational sense, such processes add the value to the input. So whatever the value that is given, that is added to the input. Processes are therefore dynamic. They cause things to be happen. So they cause the things to be happen. That means the processes are said to be dynamic. An effective process would be one where the results were those that were required to fulfill the purpose of the organization, where the results are used to fulfill the requirement of the organization, and every job involves the people or the machines equipped with the resources. So whatever the jobs that is equipped with the resources that performs a series of the tasks to produce an output. No matter how simple is a task, there is also an objective, or there is always an objective or the reason for doing it. So no matter what is the task, or no matter how the task is simple or the tough, but there is also always an objective or the reason for doing it. So what is the main objective for doing it, or what is the main reason for doing it? That is the main aim of the task. That is the main aim of the objective. That is no matter how simple is the task. The organization exists to create and satisfy the customers and other interested parties, and therefore the organization processes must serve the needs of the interested parties. So whatever the need of the interested party that is available, that is used with the interested parties, that is used for the procedure approach and the process approach. So what is a process? A process is capable of producing the rubbish, as a procedure is capable of wasting resources. So there is a process approach that is used with the process management, and that simply not means that only available with the input converted into output. No, that manage the or that meets the requirement, that is the main purpose, that is the main aim of the process approach. That means managing the processes means or managing the process approach means converting the input into the output by means of the good process, by means of the process. So whenever there is an input that is given, that is converted into the output by means of the process. So the process approach to management is therefore not simply converting into the output that meets the requirement, but also manage the process that have clearly defined purpose and objective that is based on the need of the interested parties, that are designed to achieve these objectives through tasks that use capable of human, physical, and financial resources and the information, that produce the output that satisfy the interested parties, that measures, review, and continually improve processes and effectiveness, that continually process or continually increase the processes that is available, that is used with the continuous process efficiency and the efficiency. So these are the various ways by which we can convert the input into the output that meets the requirement, but also manage the processes. And the process approach principle is reflected in the ISO 9001 through the requirement addressing. Now, what are the various requirement addressing that is available? First is the identity of the process, then defining the process input and the output, then providing the infrastructure, information, and resources for process to function. So what are the various requirements? What are the various principles that is available? The first principle is identity of the processes, then defining the process inputs and the output, then providing the infrastructure, information, and resources for the process to function. Now, the next principle that is available is the system approach to the management. That is, what are the various, there is a system approach or there is a systematic approach to the management. That is the next part, that is system approach to management. Now, this principle is expressed as follows, that is identifying, understanding, and managing interrelated processes as a system. That means, first of all, identify, then understand and manage the interrelated processes. That is means What are the various processes that are interlinked with each other as a system that contributes to the organization effectiveness and efficiency in achieving the objective. So whatever the objective, whatever the task that is available, that is used with the interrelated processes, that is used with identifying, understanding and managing the interrelated processes as a system that contributes to the organization effectiveness and efficiency in achieving the objective. A system is an ordered set of ideas, principles and theories or a chain of operations that produce a specific result. To be a chain of operations, the operations need to be worked together in a regular relationship. So as a chain of the operations must need to be worked together in a regular relationship. So there's a regular relationship among the system. And taking a system approach to the management means managing the organization as a system of the processes. That means manage the organization as a system of the approaches so that all the processes fit together. So manage the organization as a group of the objective group of the processes so that the processes fit together and input and the output are connected, resources feed the processes, performance is monitored and censored, transmit information which cause the changes in the performance. So whatever the changes, whatever the criteria that is available, that change the requirement, that transmit the information, that means there is a change in the performance and all parts work together to achieve the organization objective. And this view of system clearly implies a system is dynamic and not static. That means we can change the system at any time. We can change the system view at any time. That means the system is dynamic, not the static. And the system is not a random collection of elements, procedures, and tasks, but a set of interconnected processes. So whatever the processes that is carried out, that processes or that process will be carried out, that means that the system is dynamic and not the static. Then there is a system approach that is available. That approach must satisfy the customer. That approach must meet the customer, that is available with the customer satisfaction. That means this view of system clearly implies that the system is dynamic and not the static. And system is not a random collection of the elements, procedure and the task, but a set of the interconnected processes. So whatever the set of the interconnected processes that is available, that is used as a part of the interconnected process. And the system approach recognizes that the behavior of any part of a system has some effects on the behavior of the system as a whole. So whatever the approach is, whatever the system approach that recognize the behavior, of the system as a whole. So the system approach principle is reflected to the ISO through the requirement addressing. Now, what are the various requirements? So first of all, there is the establishment, implement, and maintaining the management system. So this is one of the important, we can say, the principle or one of the important requirement that is available. That means establishing, implementing, and maintaining the management principles. So first of all, establish, then implement and maintain the management principles or management system that is used in ISO 9001 standards. Then interconnection, interrelation, and sequence of processes. That means what are the various interconnection among the processes, what are the relationship among the processes, what is the sequence of the processes. So interconnection, interrelation, and sequence of processes, that is also the requirement addressing. Then the links between the processes, that is what are the various links that is available between the processes. Then establishing the measurement processes. That means establishing the measurement processes, that is also one of the main approach that is used in the ISO 9001 standard. So these are the four parts that is available, that is establishing, implementing and maintaining the management systems, then interconnection, interrelation and sequence of processes, then the links between the processes, then establishing the measurement processes, that is what are the various measurement processes that is available within the system, what are the various principles, what are the various measurement processes, or what are the various measurement criteria. So next principle that is available is a continual improvement. So there is a continuous improvement in the process, there is a continuous improvement in the data, that is a continual improvement. That is the next we can say the principle. This principle I am going to take after the break. So let's take a break right now. Then after the break, let's talk about the continual improvement. That means there is a continuous improvement in the data. That means whenever we are talking about the processes, whenever we are talking about the function, so there will be a growth for the charge for the upgradation. That growth, that upgradation will be available within the organization, that is known as the continuous improvement. So this I'm going to take after the break. Let's take a break right now. So come back from the break. Now let's start the session again. So the next principle that is available is a continual improvement. So there is a continuous improvement in the processes. There is a continuous improvement in the process, labor, whatever the scenario. There is a continuous improvement. There is a continual use for the organization overall performance. That should be a permanent objective of the organization. So whatever the permanent objective of the organization that must be carried out, that must be used for the overall performance, that must be a permanent objective of the organization. So that means, this means that everyone in the organization should be continually questioning its performance and seeking the ways to reduce the variation. So whatever the variation that is carried out, that is used to seeking the, or that is used to seek out the data, that is used to continually get out the data, that is how the data will be used, how the data will be preferred, that is continually retrieve the data, continually questioning its performance and seeking the ways to reduce the variations. If there is any variation, so how to reduce the variation, how to performance, or how to seek the performance and seeking the ways to reduce the variations, continually questioning their methods and seeking better ways of doing things. So what are the various ways, or what are the various better ways of doing the things? That is the overall performance. So there is a continual improvement in the overall performance. That should be the permanent objective of the organization. And everyone questions the organization, that is questioning their targets and seeking the new targets that enhance the organization capability. So whatever the capability that is used, that is the capability of the organization, that is capability of the doing things that is available in the organization. Now performance methods, targets, these are the three key areas where the improvement is necessary for the organization. So what are the various three key areas that is available? One is the performance, then there is a method, then there is a targets. So three key areas where improvement is necessary for organization to achieve and sustain the success. ISO 9000:2000 defines the continual improvement as a recurring activity to increase the ability to fulfill the requirement. So what are the various activities that is used to fulfill the requirement? These various activities are a part to increase the ability to fulfill the requirement. Improvement is therefore relative to a time scale. That means if the time lapses, so there should be an improvement in the processes. So improvement is therefore relative or related to the time scale. So if the time, that means if the things are very old, then the requirements are very made, then related to the time scale, that increases the ability to fulfill the requirement. And if the requirement recurs once a week, that means if the requirement improvement recurs once in a week, once in a month, once in a year, or once every 5 years, it can be considered as a recurring. That means if the improvement is occurs, or if the improvement recurs once in a year, once in a month, once in every 5 years, it can be considered as a recurring part. So that's all for today's session, and thank you so much everyone for listening me. In the next class, that is in the tomorrow's class, I'm going to start with the next topic, that is the quality control. That is how to maintain the quality control, or what are the various effects on the quality control, or what is the meaning of the quality control. That is the next topic. All right. So let's stop the class over here only.